This is Annie's story, and I'm going to tell it for her. She had managed to escape, at least physically. She left the state. She found work, found a safe place to raise her daughter. It wasn't easy, but she was doing it. She was rebuilding slowly and quietly. Then he showed up. He hadn't called ahead. He hadn't asked how they were doing. He simply appeared uninvited, unannounced, and he said, I want to see my daughter. Now, Annie didn't panic. She was calm. She said, I can arrange that, but that's not what he wanted. I don't want to visit her, he said. I want her to live with me. You come home or I'm calling my lawyer. Well, at first, Annie didn't feel fear. She was just absolutely furious. How dare he, after everything, after all the silence, after all the threats? This is what he's going to do? But then came the real gut punch. You took her out of the state. You're not allowed to do that. And you know what? Santino was right. Annie had already researched the law and consulted with a lawyer. She knew she had violated it by leaving without a custody agreement. He wasn't trying to be a father to their child. He was trying to be a weapon because he knew one thing above all else, that Annie would never, under any circumstances, part with her little girl. And that's what Santino was counting on. He didn't want the child. No, he wanted power, and he wanted to see Annie suffer. And Annie knew that. She knew exactly what he was doing. And still, of course, she was scared. When someone threatens your child, not because they love the child, but because they just want to break you, that's a different kind of war. It's not just emotional abuse anymore. It's warfare by legal threat, psychological leverage, and it's a quiet terror all in its own. But now she was facing a battle that went so deep. She had escaped him once, but this was different because this time he wasn't coming after her. He was coming after what she cherished the most, is her little girl. And that's how they do it, isn't it? They find the places that matter most to you. Your horse, your dog, your voice, your daughter, your son. And then they aim straight for the center. What happened next would test Annie's courage, her legal tenacity, her ability to protect her daughter. There was a turning point, but the scars it left, they don't fade away easily. You know, this was really never about custody. This was about punishment, about power, about dragging Annie back into his orbit. She had broken free of it. He was just pulling her back. He didn't want to parent. He wanted to possess. He didn't want to protect. He wanted to provoke. Annie knew if she gave in now, he'd never, ever stop. If she gave up her career, he'd come for her voice next. If she went back, she might never come back out. So she did what so many in her position are forced to do. She readied herself for the fight of her life, for the child he never really wanted, and the freedom he couldn't stand to see her claim. Annie escaped once, but this This would be the fight that would define her. This story is for every mother, every father who's ever stood between their child and a threat disguised as love. Anyone who's ever been forced to weigh legal risk against their child's safety, what a terrible thing. Every survivor who knows the agony of being told, come home or I'll take everything from you, should never happen. I'm Kyle Hackley, attorney, author of Undercurrent, and the host of the Are You Annie podcast. Annie's story is a fiction, but it's not made up. It's drawn from real wounds, real people, and real fear. And for those of you who've lived something like this, you didn't imagine it. You don't have to justify it. And you are not alone. As always, I want you to remember that you are stronger than you ever knew. You're a warrior against narcissistic abuse. And I want you to be tenacious and never give up on what's important to you. Until next time, please take care of yourself. I see you, and I know you're here. Thank you.